You know, I'm often asked what being the majority leader of the Senate is like. And here's the best answer I've been able to come up with. It's a little bit like being the groundskeeper at a cemetery. Everybody's under you, but nobody's listening. You've heard a lot of comments about the new Congress and suggestions that we haven't done much yet. Well, that conveniently ignores Justice Gorsuch. It also conveniently ignores what most of you have probably forgotten, that the two principal legislative accomplishments of the Obama administration didn't occur in year one, they occurred in year two. President Obama signed Obamacare in March of 2010. He signed Dodd-Frank in July of 2010. So my counsel to all of you is judge this Congress at the conclusion of the Congress. What we intend to try to accomplish is comprehensive tax reform that brings the rates down to make America more competitive. And the person right in the middle of that, of course, is our guest speaker today.
I'm all for spending controls. Congress has the absolute right and the absolute obligation to oversee the funding of the U.S. government and how we spend money. And through that process, it's a process that's open for discussion and thoughtful debate. But as it relates to the debt limit, this is not about spending money. This is about paying for what we've spent. And we cannot put the credit of the United States on the line. We are the reserve currency of the world. We are the major economy of the world. And I look forward to working with Congress to have this done promptly. For way too long, we've had subpar economic growth. And the difference between 2% GDP and 3% GDP is literally trillions and trillions of dollars to the American economy and to the government. And this is something that we're very focused on. The President's economic program is a combination of tax reform, regulatory relief, and trade. And with this, we think we can restore the American economy to the proper growth, which leads to more jobs, more competitive businesses, and more income for the middle class. What we're trying to do on the personal side is simplify taxes. Taxes are way, way too complicated. By raising the standard deduction, by limiting deductions, 95% of Americans will be able to fill out their taxes on a large postcard. And for me, overseeing the IRS, that's a very, very good thing. It's also about creating a middle-income tax cut, putting money back into people's pockets where they deserve. And on the business side, it's about making American business competitive so we can hire more people at good paying jobs. I will say we're 100% committed to getting it done. I'd like to think there's bipartisan support or some bipartisan support. The issues that we're focused on, tax reform, are good for the American worker. They're good for the middle class. This is about making business competitive, and making business competitive is about making jobs.
Hearings will happen. All of you will get a chance to look at it. Everybody will have a chance to weigh in. That's the way it works. And we'll work our way through the process. Stephen mentioned the growth rate. There are two reasons why Obama didn't have a single year of 3% growth. One was a lousy tax code, which he made worse by raising taxes at the top, which hit all of these small businesses that are pass-throughs. And number two was the regulatory rampage that was going on all across the country. They literally strangled damn near every business in America with too much regulation. We've begun to tackle that already with 14 regulations that were removed under what's called the Congressional Review Act. And the President's administration, within each agency, are revisiting regulations that we think contributed mightily to slowing down the economy. Yeah, well, obviously we had a setback on the effort to make dramatic changes on Obamacare. The way forward now is somewhat murky. We have collapsing individual insurance markets around the country, requests to continue to subsidize the insurance companies. It's a pretty controversial subject to subsidize insurance companies without any reforms. We're going to see what Senator Alexander and his team can do on a bipartisan basis. The Democrats have been pretty uninterested in any reforms. They're really interested in sending money to insurance companies, but not very interested in reforms. So when we get back after Labor Day, we'll have to sit down and talk to them and see what the way forward might be.